Welcome to Ghost Vibes. We are about to unpack the ultimate cold case, an unsolved riddle that begins in the air and ends somewhere in the chilling silence of the American Northwest wilderness. This is the definitive story of D.B. Cooper, the man who performed the perfect crime, and the legend that continues to haunt the FBI. The stage was set on November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving. At Portland International Airport, a man purchased a ticket for Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305 to Seattle. He presented as a quiet, professional figure in his mid-40s. A dark suit, a starched white shirt, a black clip-on tie, and sunglasses. He chose seat 18C, the last row, and ordered a bourbon and soda. This seemingly ordinary man, Dan Cooper, would soon become a myth. The moment the plane was airborne, Cooper acted. He called over flight attendant Florence Schaffner and handed her a note. Schaffner initially dismissed it as a lonely businessman's advance, but Cooper's low, intense whisper stopped her. "Miss, you'd better read that. I have a bomb." The note was printed neatly in all capital letters. "I have a bomb here, and I want you to sit by me." Schaffner would later testify that when Cooper opened his cheap black briefcase, she saw a terrifying arrangement of red cylinders, wires, and a battery, a crude but convincing explosive device. Cooper's demands were not chaotic. They were chillingly precise. $200,000 in negotiable American currency, specifically $20 bills, and 4 parachutes, 2 primary and 2 reserve. He requested 4 chutes to discourage the authorities from supplying him with defective gear, suggesting he might take a hostage. He was meticulous, calm, and polite throughout, a demeanor that utterly unnerved the crew. He even insisted on retrieving the original note after Schaffner read it, eliminating a key piece of evidence. The Boeing 727 circled above Seattle for hours as the FBI scrambled to gather the ransom, a heavy sack of 10,000 $20 bills. When the money and parachutes were delivered, Cooper allowed all 36 terrified passengers to disembark, along with 2 flight attendants. He then instructed the remaining crew, pilot William Scott, First Officer Bob Ratadzak, Flight Engineer H.E. Anderson, and Flight Attendant Tina Mucklow, to prepare for the next phase. Cooper was now in complete control. His instructions for the second leg of the flight toward Reno, Nevada, were dangerously specific and demonstrated profound technical knowledge. He demanded the plane fly below 10,000 feet, maintain a maximum speed of 100 knots, and, most critically, that the aft air stair, the distinct staircase beneath the tail of the 727, be lowered after takeoff. He knew the limits of the aircraft and the technical capability of that air stair, a design detail soon removed from all 727s, specifically because of this hijacking. Once airborne, Tina Mucklow was instructed to remain in the cockpit. Cooper took the ransom money, secured it tightly with parachute cord to his waist, and carefully selected his chute. He had been given a non-steerable military reserve chute and a main parachute, using the cord from the extra reserve to secure his bag. At approximately 8:13 p.m., somewhere over the densely forested, storm-swept terrain of the Pacific Northwest, a warning light flashed in the cockpit, confirming the air stair was fully deployed. The pilots felt the subtle shift in air pressure, then a distinct jerk. Cooper was gone. He had vanished into the pitch-black night, leaping into a freezing 15-degree environment with 100-knot winds. The plane landed safely in Reno, but the man, the money, and the mystery had already flown away. The subsequent manhunt, codenamed Norjack, became one of the longest and most expensive unsolved cases in FBI history. Search teams found nothing: no body, no briefcase, no sign of impact. The primary focus was a 20-mile radius around the Columbia River, a vast and unforgiving wilderness. Investigators debated whether Cooper, wearing only a suit and loafers, could have survived the drop, let alone the punishing terrain and near-freezing temperatures. Many assumed he died upon impact, but the silence was broken in 1980. Brian Ingram, an 8-year-old boy, was digging a fire pit on Tina Bar along the Columbia River. He unearthed 3 packets of $20 bills, heavily decomposed and rubber-banded together. The serial numbers were a match for the ransom money. This physical evidence, $5,800, was the only tangible link ever found. The money's decayed state suggested it had been introduced to the river system very early on, lending weight to the theory that Cooper either drowned or lost the money immediately after landing. The search for the skyjacker led investigators through a labyrinth of suspects. Richard McCoy, an ex-Army paratrooper, performed a copycat hijacking just 4 months later, using an almost identical modus operandi. Despite his seemingly perfect profile, the FBI officially cleared him. Yet the striking similarities continued to fuel suspicion among independent investigators. Kenneth Christensen, a former purser for Northwest Orient, was named a suspect after his brother noticed his strong resemblance to the FBI sketches and his sudden ability to purchase land after the hijacking. Christensen's knowledge of the airline's internal procedures fit the profile, but hard evidence linking him to the tie or fingerprints was never found. The most enduring suspect remains Robert Rackstraw, a highly trained military veteran with jump expertise and disciplinary issues. His advocates point to his specialized knowledge of parachuting and his history of using assumed identities. Rackstraw's story, and the tantalizing, unverified evidence linked to him, is often cited as the closest the case ever came to resolution. For 45 years, the D.B. Cooper case defied resolution. It forced changes in commercial aviation, primarily the Cooper vane, a simple locking device installed on all 727s to prevent the air stair from being lowered mid-flight. The FBI formally suspended the investigation in 2016, closing the book on an active hunt. Was Cooper a genius who planned the heist meticulously, or a desperate amateur who simply got lucky? Did he vanish into the dense forests to live out his days in quiet luxury? Or did he end up at the bottom of the Columbia River, his remains undiscovered? The lack of closure transformed him from a criminal into an enduring anti-establishment icon. The tie, the money, the Boeing 727. The pieces are all there, yet the full picture remains blurred. We want to know your analysis. Who was the quiet man in the black tie? And what truly happened to him after he stepped off that air stair? Share your deepest theories in the comments below. And subscribe to Ghost Vibes to continue exploring the ultimate unsolved mysteries of history.